let's continue setting this up. So in our code, let's just remove this, actually just remove some of it, because we're going to change the color here. Instead of being red, we're going to use the RGBA. So we have the alpha channel as well. And if you're unfamiliar with that one, that's just, for example, if you're using Photoshop, you can change the alpha channel to make something more transparent. And you can do the same in here. So I'm gonna do standard 255, which will make it white in this case. And I'm just gonna add 0.4, which means it's about 40% transparent here. So let's click save. It's gonna, you can't see it here because we just have this. I know it's going to be used because I've already seen the finished product. So that's the reason. Just type it in. Next part is we're just going to add a margin to this, and we're going to set this to 0px, 0px, and then auto. So auto on each side, so center it, 0 top, 0 bottom, and auto on left and right. Good. Next thing, we're going to do a position, and we're going to set this to fixed because we want our the box that we can see right now up here. We want this, when we scroll this, we want it to always be up here, so that we're setting it to fixed. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to use set index to make, whoops, net index, I don't know what that is, to 999, so that's layers in Photoshop. So we're going to make sure that it's on top so it doesn't get pushed beneath the other elements in our CSS. And we're going to use a cursor here, and let's do the pointer. I think it's called pointer, yes. So it's more, again, we can see this on a desktop, on a mobile phone. We can't really use a pointer, right? Because we can't hover things. So whatever. And we're gonna do a border radius, so curved corners radius. There we go. And let's set this to 5 pixels. So that's kind of the standard setup we want for our menu toggle. And we're going to, since we're using SAS in here, we can start doing nested things. So we don't have to write in the next part hashtag menu toggle, space, span, and so on. We can just use the SAS to make this. And the next one we're going to do is span. So if you remember from in here, we did 3 spans for our hamburger, and 2 for our cross. So in span, we're going to do display block. So we make sure that it's set up correctly. And we're going to use a background, and we're going to add a color of hashtag 566973. So that's a dark gray color. That's the first one, and we're going to do a border radius on these one as well. So these are also curved a little bit at the end, border radius, there we go. And let's set this for 2 pixels. So let's click save, see if we have something here. Still nothing here, that's all right. So that's the first part of our CSS here. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add a hover effect. So we do the @ no, not the @ I can't remember, that's ampersand, I think it's English. And let's do a hover effect for this one. So whenever we hover, we want to change the background of our of the lines for our hamburger menu. And let's do 255, 255. You can just copy the other one, and then instead of having 0.4, we do 0.8. Oops, sorry, there we go. So that's the hover effect, so a little bit darker gray when we do a hover. Good. Next thing we're going to do inside our toggle, or inside our menu toggle here, we have an ID called hamburger, and we're going to add to this. So hashtag hamburger for the first, whoops, there we go, like this. And this one we're going to set a position absolute, so we can control, why are you not completing for me? Absolute, there we go. So it floats, it's kind of taken out of the design, but it's still part of our menu toggle here. So we can manipulate a little bit. And we're going to set up top 24 pixels. And we're going to do, what's the next one we're going to do? We're going to, that's not actually right. I am messing up, so this is not top, this is height. And we're going to do 100% height. And we're going to do width for 100% as well. Not 100%, 100%. Yes, indeed. I have lines everywhere, so my mouse is really weird. So that's the first part, right? Let's do this and so this. So we have this specific setup now, and now we want to actually attach some of the code to this span in here, so we can actually see them and later on use them as well. So again, stay inside the hamburger, and so make sure that you're still inside the hamburger here. And now we're going to add the span in here. And in this one, we're going to create a width of 60 pixels. So that's the actual line of these one here. So the hamburger ones we're creating now, not the cross one. And we're going to give them 4 height. And we're going to do position relative in here. Relative, come on. Oh, it won't help me. I don't know why. And here we're going to do top 24 pixels. And we're going to do left 20 pixels. And scrolling down a little bit, and we're going to set a margin so it's not completely at the top, for 10 pixels at top, 0 at right, and then back to 10 at bottom and 0 at left, right? So that's one way of doing this. So let's click save, and let's see if we actually have some code. Nothing here yet. That's all right, because we're not done here. So the next thing we need to do, whoops, I hit something. It's not still blue. Oh, I forgot to end this. So let's save. And that's the reason why mine didn't work. I was confused. So I forgot to close this tag here. And if you did the same, make sure you do this. So in this case, mine turns this orangey gold color here. Right. So that's the first thing we need to do for setting up this here. And I'm going to add something now that might seem a little bit weird for now, but it's going to be attached to our animation a little bit later on. So we're going to use something called the NTH, which is the first one is the number, and then TH for like 4th, 5th, 6th. So number, and I don't know what specific how to write it, and the child element inside this. That's what we're going to be doing. And the first child we're going to be hitting is the first one. So the top one up here. This is the second, this is the third child, right? So in here, we're going to do our curly brackets, and I'm actually just going to copy this and paste this out a few times, because we're going to do it something for all 3, because we don't want them to animate at the same time. We want to do 3 different kinds of animation, right? So the first one disappears and the second one, and then the third one goes away in a line. So what we want to do in here is we want to do a transition dash delay. So delay the transition, which is basically the word, and we're going to delay by 5.5 seconds, 0.5 seconds. Copy this, paste, and the next one we're going to do 6.25, and then 0, whoops, that's a 7, like this. So that's the first part of our code. So let's click save, and then we'll continue creating the cross in the next video.